Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are peeling back the pristine, almost magical illusion of your favorite AI tools to reveal the very real, very human global supply chains powering them. I mean, think about it. When we type a prompt into a chat box and get a brilliant essay or a stunning image back in literally seconds, it feels like we're interacting with this highly advanced, self-sufficient brain. But the reality? Well, it's a lot more grounded in grueling human labor than we might realize.
So it really begs the question, is this technology truly autonomous, or does it rely on a completely hidden human workforce? We all tend to think of AI as a purely technological marvel, a triumph of code and silicon. But the truth is, to make these models safe, effective, and actually usable for everyday people, they require constant, hands-on human intervention. Now, before we get too deep into the weeds of the supply chain, we gotta understand the secret sauce here. It's called data labeling. This is the absolutely essential process where human beings manually categorize and clean training data. Without this, an AI simply cannot function properly. Whether it's telling an autonomous robot vacuum exactly where the edges of your living room are, or instructing a generative AI on what actually constitutes offensive or violent content, it is human intelligence acting as the initial filter. All right, here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll uncover AI's invisible workforce, explain data labeling, contrast tech profits with precarious pay, expose a massive accountability gap, and finally, look at the push for ethical AI. We are tracing this entire supply chain from those massive tech valuations right down to the grueling realities of outsourced workers. Okay, kicking things off with part one, AI's invisible human workforce and the Global South supply chain. Let's find out who is actually doing the tedious work behind these models. You know that illusion of a fully automated future we just talked about? Yeah, it relies heavily on vast supply chains of human contractors. And no, these jobs aren't sitting in sleek Silicon Valley offices. They're heavily outsourced to the Global South. Companies specifically target regions and set up operations in countries like Kenya, India, and Venezuela to handle this incredibly tedious data labeling process. Moving right along to part two, what is data labeling? Or how we get from raw data to clean AI. Think of it like a giant digital assembly line. Step one starts with raw, unstructured data, which, let's be honest, can be incredibly messy, confusing, and sometimes highly disturbing. Then, step two, human labelers step in to manually review, tag, and clean up those data sets. It is only after humans have painstakingly done this digital grunt work that we reach step three, a safe, effective, and usable AI model like ChatGPT or DALL-E. And guys, this unseen industry operates on a truly massive scale. In 2023, the global market for data annotation was estimated at over 2 billion euros. Just to put that into perspective, that is 2 billion euros flowing through an industry whose primary function is just to do the digital cleanup required to make our tech function smoothly. It's huge. Which brings us to part three, profits versus precarious pay, the valuation divide. We need to compare the immense wealth generated by AI against the actual wages of the workers building it. We are talking about astronomical sums of money at the top of this chain. Take OpenAI, for example, the creators of those immensely popular tools we all use. The company was recently valued at more than 26 billion euros. Massive, mind-boggling wealth is being generated simply by the perception of technological magic. But then, in a totally jarring shift, look at the bottom of that exact same supply chain. The very workers in Kenya who are tasked with reviewing and labeling deeply disturbing content, including graphic descriptions of violence and rape, literally just to make those exact products safer for the public, were paid less than 2 euros an hour. It's a sobering contrast, right? Multi-billion euro corporate profits sitting right alongside the precarious pay of the people doing the heaviest emotional lifting. Because searching for cheap labor in the Global South to do the grueling, dirty work is unfortunately nothing new. Some critics have started referring to this specific dynamic as AI colonialism. It's essentially the practice of extracting massive technological value for wealthy tech hubs while pushing the lowest wages and the highest psychological burdens onto vulnerable populations in other parts of the world. All right, part four, the tech accountability gap and shifting the risk. How does outsourcing create a major loophole for big tech? So how exactly is this accountability gap structured? Well, the big tech firm at the top reaps the profits and builds the shiny consumer product. But they don't hire the labelers directly. Nope, they use an outsourced contractor. This middleman takes on all the legal liability and the risk.
The end result? Big companies completely distance themselves from responsibility, while the global South worker at the very bottom faces incredibly precarious working conditions. If something goes wrong, the tech giant can just point the finger at the contractor, effectively shielding themselves from the realities of their own factory floor. And the real-world fallout from this loophole is just heartbreaking. By limiting their direct exposure to the workforce, these tech giants also wash their hands of worker well-being. Labelers in Kenya, who were explicitly hired to act as a human shield against the internet's darkest material so that AI wouldn't repeat it, complained about a severe lack of mental health care to deal with the daily trauma of what they had to read and watch. Plus, this vast outsourcing network poses major privacy risks to us, the consumers. Listen to this. When you hand sensitive data to precarious, underpaid contractors, things leak. This was highlighted when Venezuelan data labelers, who had access to confidential material, actually posted highly personal photos taken by consumer robot vacuums onto Facebook. One of these leaked images literally showed a person on the toilet. While the terms of service technically allowed the images to be used to train the next generation of vacuums, they absolutely never should have appeared online. It just goes to show how this accountability gap hurts both the vulnerable worker and the end user. Finally, Part 5. The push for ethical AI and organizing the invisible workforce. What's the path forward? Prominent AI researcher Timnit Gebru points out that the solution isn't just writing better code, it requires actual structural change. She argues that supporting transnational worker organizing must be at the absolute center of the fight for ethical AI. And honestly, she hits the nail on the head. You simply cannot have truly ethical technology if the foundational layer of its creation completely relies on exploitation. To wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a question to chew on. We've talked about the 26 billion euro valuations, the wages of less than €2 an hour, and that massive accountability gap shielding the biggest companies in the world from the grueling realities of data labeling. So, knowing that the magic of AI is actually human labor, how do you think a fair treatment of these invisible workers could actually be achieved? Keep that in mind the next time you marvel at a flawless AI response. Thanks for tuning in and keep asking the big questions.